You want me to jump in?
You're in. So
Yay!
LUKA
We had
Nation.
this whole thing set up for the YouTube audience. I was gonna like stand on the side, and Andrew was gonna be like, Cage can't get his phone to work, and then he was gonna jump in. But instead, we just hit record. We're rocking and rolling. YouTube.
Do you think we should look at this, or should we look at each other?
I don't want you looking at me, man. I don't know what I would do with those blue eyes of yours. You look into my eyes, it's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna have to focus right here. So if you haven't figured it out by now, LUKA Nation, 470 episodes, however many in. Our first time doing this, one camera, same location. We're here at Bleecker Trading for a trade night tonight. John Stark's hanging out. I'm gonna smoke so many cigars, I'm gonna pass out. And handsome Andrew came up from Mexico. I don't see any federales trailing him outside right now. I don't think they're coming with Anthony. They might. They might come here for him. But yeah, man, we're doing an episode today in the same location. So I kind of hijacked your opening as I usually do. So
you're doing a great job.
There we go. Kick us off. We got some fun stuff. You excited about NBA last night?
Very much so, man. Couldn't you see us doing this though? Like, couldn't you see us going around the country and actually meeting people face to face?
As long as they got a bottle of soda for me, I'm set.
So here's an interesting story. So today, I'm walking around New York. I try to go to a yoga class. They turned me away, but you know how it works. God has bigger plans for you. So I keep walking. I get to Battery Park. On the court, someone left the basketball. Well pumped, and it's still like a functional ball. So I start shooting. I'm talking to this guy. I'm talking cards, all this stuff.
It really happens, by the way. Before he gets into the fun, and I hope this is on, right? The microphone's on. We're talking.
Not sure how we would ever know.
Yeah, I mean, we could do this whole episode and not actually have any volume. We would never know. But hey,
I'm literally not sure how we would.
That's it. It's fun, right? So then, like, is there like sound here?
You're making it really loud.
Making it really loud. I don't know. Okay, so that'd be cool. That's all. That's on. There we go. We can work on faith. He's messaged me. He had his whole day planned out to come to New York. He was gonna go do a little Yogi Bear. He was gonna do like a little
Well, dude, this place changed my life. I did 90 classes in 90 days at Yoga Spark in Tribeca. And because, dude, you know my theory. I love and I believe in doing something every single day changes your life.
Sure. 90 days, little yoga. So he goes back to yoga. He's ready to do his yoga. He told me this morning, we're talking. I upset card porn, I think. Earlier in the day. I'm sorry, card porn, if I upset you.
But you had to bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, look, I try not to upset anybody, but I guess I can't help it. I upset everybody, I guess. But in any event,
you say what's on your mind, but you say it with love, and sometimes through text or through messages, it's hard to like.
Listen, to all the girls I've loved before, I am sorry, and I'm a letdown. It's just what happens, People just I have a way with words, and usually that way is bad. So in any event, we're talking. He's gonna go to the yoga place, and yoga place tells him no. They say no suit for you, Andrew. No yoga for you. And the dude he's trying to have like a legit argument with the yoga place. What do you mean? Why can't I come? Anyway, this is what happens, right? The sky opens up, right? What do they say? When somebody shuts a door, they'll open a window.
When one door shuts, tomorrow.
One door shuts, when they say no one way, you go the other way kind of stuff. One of those kind of things, right?
When one door shuts,
he's chatting. He's like, oh, I'm walking. I'm going to go for a walk instead. He goes, wait a second. There's a basketball court. And there's two basketballs. And the basketball's pumped. And he's shooting hoops. And we're talking. We're catching up. We're bullshitting. And go ahead. You can. I brought you up to where you're there. You got the basket. You missed like 3 or 4 shots. I heard a couple people laughing.
It was short. My shot was short.
Heard a couple people laughing. Look at that guy. Then, before you get to the fun part, he did laugh because some person jogged by you wearing a mask.
Yes.
You did think that was funny. You did think that was funny. This guy's jogging wearing a mask.
It's nonsensical. But anyway.
Go ahead.
And so what happens is I see Nat Turner walking.
He goes, hey, well, here. I thought he was kidding. Because before he said, hey, look, it's Nat Turner. He goes, hey, Dustin Hoffman. Hey, Dustin Hoffman. And I'm like, you just saw Dustin Hoffman? He was at the game last night. They asked him what he thought of the game. He's like, no. I just think it's funny. There's masks. People, you don't know who they are under the mask. It could be Dustin Hoffman. So I said to this guy, hey, Dustin Hoffman. So I'm laughing because it's pretty funny.
Show idea, right? Walk around New York just saying people's names.
I'm laughing. I'm like, so it wasn't Dustin Hoffman. And literally we have this conversation how it wasn't Dustin Hoffman, but he called him Dustin Hoffman because he's wearing a mask. And he says, hey, Nat Turner. So I'm like, yeah, okay, Nat Turner. He's wearing a mask. But no bullshit. It was Nat Turner. Mm-hmm. And did he come play basketball with you?
He's recovering from an injury. He's on the 10-day DL.
So no basketball.
So wishing you a safe recovery. Now let's get into the show. So
Oh, by the way, only you come to New York, walk around, find a random basketball on a random basketball court in the middle of Manhattan. How many? 10 million people here in the city today? And you're playing basketball when that turtle happens to walk by.
do you want to hear even
Ridiculous.
So that same place, one time I was skateboarding home, and I saw J. Cole. J. Cole got a flat tire on right near where I was. And I said, dude, my gym's right around the corner. I'll go pump up the tire. And he followed me.
Pump up the volume.
Pump up the volume.
That's
I'm a
it,
huge
man.
J. Cole fan.
J. Cole?
That's a true story. I met J. Cole on West Side Highway, right where I met Nat Turner today.
I don't really like J. Cole, but I like coleslaw. But let's talk about basketball.
Dude, Cole's got.
He can't.
He's poetic.
He hoops in, like, where did he play? In Israel? Africa? Where did he play?
Dude, he's good. J. Cole is like, you know how rappers try to play? He actually plays. He's really good.
Who's better, J. Cole or Master P?
I've never seen Master P play. He's got to be at least 60.
Master P's a good ball player. Okay, so just like J. Cole is for this generation, Master P was the basketball playing celebrity of my generation, I guess. So, what did you think of yesterday's games? Can I tell you a couple things I saw?
Yes, we're gonna do overreaction. It's gonna be a kind of an NBA overreaction episode. We're gonna talk a little bit about NFL, Cage Bar, Joe Burrow card, and then we'll give you plays and we'll get out.
Well, so overreaction is the topic, right? Because we're here to talk about the card market, and what's funny about it is people buy things leading up to the season, right? And card prices go up because you buy stuff leading up to the season. But what happens as the season starts? What happens after the games start to play? You would think the people who aren't embarrassing themselves, the cards would stay high or even go up. We've talked about this with Trey last year, right? How Trey's cards kind of moved up a lot during the season. And even though he had one heck of a year, the cards never really recovered to where they were at the beginning of the season. Some of that was the market overall, but some of it was just what happens. People want to get in that preseason, that buy-up, that whole deal. There's a rush to get the cards. So when we talk about like overreaction, we talk about that kind of stuff. Will that happen again with basketball cards? It's an interesting question, and I'll bring in some football stuff just for comparison. But for last night, for the cards, what I will tell you, what's funny is I watched the whole Knicks Celtics game, and if you haven't watched it, guys, I mean, it's a local game for me. Just catch one of the league pass snippets or catch like a highlights of it. Like the Knicks had the game in hand. They had the game in hand. They were up by, with like 4 minutes left. I think they were up by 11 points. But they made some really bad plays. It was like they were trying to give the game to the Celtics, and it went to overtime. And then Evan Fournier had just a ridiculous, just three after three.
I think they made 6 straight threes, both teams.
So
maybe 8.
I think at one point there were, 7. The first 7 3-pointers. The first shot that was missed in the overtime was a 2-pointer, right? And they just went back and forth, hitting threes, shooting, just score.
Missed dunk by Jaylen
Jaylen Brown with a steal and
missed
then a missed dunk
by Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, just crazy stuff. They went to double overtime, and finally, the Knicks pulled one out. But what my 2 big takeaways from the game are, while the Knicks won and beat the Celtics, which is a game the Knicks, going in, you probably wouldn't think they would win, although they were home. I am not trusting the Knicks this year. We talked about it in our preseason preview. That was a game that the Knicks did everything they could to give away at the end. And I think that when a better team comes in, the better team will take that game from them, even in New York. It was shocking. I mean, you could see the celebrities' faces. They had Dustin Hoffman, who you saw today at the basketball court, to Tracy Morgan, and everybody was just dumbfounded. To Spike Lee, they were all like, "What? What do you mean? We're supposed to be leaving now with a double-digit victory, right?" But the Knicks, I can't trust the Knicks to close games.
Not?
I don't think, because I don't think they have great leadership. And Kemba Walker, who they brought in to be a leader, he was like laughing and joking around. He was part of the reason. He had a bunch of turnovers there at the end. Young team, couple little card reactions, and maybe they're overreactions. 2 young guys on that team who you watch Quickly and Obi Toppin from last year, especially Quickly. People were high on Quickly. He was All-NBA rookie second team last year. I don't like him at all. His shot is like herky-jerky. I mean, he threw up a 3-pointer right in crunch time there, and it missed like the whole backboard. It was horrible. It was like 4 feet away from the rim. I don't get him. I don't think that's that's somebody who I would be investing in. Obi Toppin, athletic freak. What do you think of his? What do you think of his game? No,
he's improved though. He's improved from rookie year. And Thibodeau's an interesting coach, man, because he doesn't play rookies a lot. It was surprising that he played IQ last year. But if Toppin doesn't shoot threes, he's going to have a really interesting year. But to me, the real winner is the Knicks fan base. Yep. I think they're going to get 5 to 10 more wins just because of that fans.
Really?
The
It
stadium
was loud. It was like a playoff game.
You don't see that in like you go to Phoenix, and Phoenix had a great year. You don't see that.
No.
It's
Oh,
one
you
of
want
the
to know what it
most
is?
unique-
It's the song. Hootie, do you remember the song there? What do they say there when the Knicks are playing good? Let me hear you sing it. Go. Yeah. It's like, go New York, go New York, go.
Whenever they get a lead.
I mean, that's
You know who wrote that song? It was Jesse Itzler. You know who that is?
No.
Businessman Jesse Itzler wrote that song.
No, I don't know who this is. Please explain.
Little pop culture.
Little hey, I like it. I'm
Little pop culture
learning.
in a hobby.
I mean, that song was like when Patrick Ewing and John Starks. I mean, that was Charles
Jesse
Oakley.
Itzler. He's
Round
he
the
started Zico Water. He started NetJets. He's married to Sarah Blakely. So she created Spanx, and she just actually sold it to Blackstone.
I will say this, by the way.
But he's like a Gary Vee
I've known
entrepreneur.
several women who claim that the idea for Spanx was theirs. I'm just going to throw that out there. They don't get credit for it, but I know plenty of people who will tell you that they came up with it first. I'm just throwing that out there. But here's my idea. How about Manx? Right? For men like you that just have too much that you have to hold it in, how about like a man Spanx? Like Manx.
All right. So
No?
speaking of
I
holding
agree
it in,
with
Yeah.
speaking of
Well,
holding,
having a skinny guy like you in shape, don't want to believe in that.
Manx.
speaking of holding it in, I'm really excited for my Sixers team minus Ben
Before
Simmons.
that, what do you think of the Celtics? I didn't want to go off this
Okay.
game because how awful was Tatum? Would you be just jumping the Tatum card? Or was that an overreaction? I think he was like 2 for 47 from 3.
Would I be dumping my Tatum card?
Yeah.
I would be.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be dumping them because I think people right now who bought them just maybe a few months ago, his cards are actually up.
They are.
So I get all these alerts on eBay like sold.
Yep. Yep.
His cards are actually up. So
Which
I don't think it's a dump. I
I'd
just
still be selling into strength. If you saw that game last night and were like, all right, I have some Tatum, let me get rid of him while people are still thinking he have a good season, or
I'm not sure who the best player on the team is what
isn't
I
that
came out
scary?
with. And if it's Jaylen Brown, I'm curious how far you could go with Jaylen Brown because he's incredible. He's very versatile. But as your best player, I don't know.
Dude had 20 points in the first quarter, Jaylen Brown.
He's really incredible. But dude, the 3-pointer from the logo.
From the logo. That was a crazy shot. Kept them in the game.
I'll ask you guys this. So you guys are listening. You guys been commenting, engaging with more, and a few people left comments. No content creator deserves engagement. So if you think we do a good job, please share. Please smash that like and subscribe button. If we don't do it. But I'm curious what you guys think. How far can a team go with Jaylen Brown as their best player? That's my question. I love Jaylen Brown. I think he's brilliant. He's a really smart guy too.
Yep.
Do you know when I was in Bali? He came and played one of the times.
With you?
No, I missed him by one day.
Oh.
But he played with the little.
Dunk
I can't
on
dunk,
Jaylen
but
Brown.
he was dunking on the little Indonesian guys who were like 4'8".
It's not nice.
It's not.
It's not nice.
They're literally short. This is what they said to me.
That's not nice. Not nice.
All of the things
You're
we
getting in
said.
trouble. You're gonna get in trouble.
All right, Bali. All of our 3
That's
Bali
it.
listeners.
Everybody
cancel
in
me.
Bali, he's sorry. He doesn't mean to call you all short.
I
There's
love
probably
Bali.
some Balizians who are taller than 4'8".
Balinese.
Balin. No,
You know basketball might be the most popular sport in Indonesia. I know
because of Kobe.
Because of Kobe, yes.
'Cause of Kobe. It's always because of Kobe. It always comes back to it. So tell me about Philly. What's going to happen with Ben Simmons?
It's not about Ben Simmons. I've said this from day one. I love Maxey in the point guard position.
Yep.
I think that team is better with a true point guard like Maxey who could score versus whatever Ben Simmons was running because Ben Simmons wanted to just be a passing point guard. I think in today's NBA, you need a point guard that scores, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited about the Sixers team. Simmons is out indefinitely. I would be buying Maxey cards. And back to your point, I think this year is going to be a different year for sports cards in the NBA. I don't think you're going to see that early season drop off because of how weird the last year and a half was. I think from a sports card perspective, we were kind of robbed of the ups and downs of player performance in the last year. I think last year's rookie class, a lot of us like Patrick Williams, Maxey, I can never remember the guy on the Heat,
Precious Achiuwa?
Yeah, Precious Achiuwa. I think a lot of guys last year in the shortened season, they didn't have time to really develop.
Mhm.
You're pulling out some cards.
Well, I want you to tell me that for this, right? So here's a guy didn't have a chance to develop, so we'll hold it up for you guys. I graded this.
What does Joe Burrow
Here's
have
how
to
I
do
grade.
with the NBA?
So it's a perfect story, right? So NBA might be different, and that might be your answer, right? This Yeah, Joe Burrow. So that's a color match. PSA 10, the orange prism, right? Ian and I pulled this out of a pack. We graded it, right? PSA 10.
Nice.
PSA 10. Nice
Nice
card.
pull,
Right? Maybe
yeah.
I'll trade it tonight if somebody wants it. Who knows? But I when we got it back, the season hadn't started.
He's even more energetic in person.
Woo!
Believe it or not.
Hey, nah.
He is harder to contain.
Someone's a Long Island native, and he also what is he? Part owner of the Hawks. And he wrote the song for the Knicks.
Love it.
Is that amazing?
So you do know Jesse.
I was saying that too, but then Cage made a reference to me. I didn't want to speak.
Yeah, you can talk whatever you like, man. This is your place.
Yes. He's a Long Islander, and he
Nice.
co-owns the Hawks.
That's right.
Jesse, yeah. And he wrote Go New York, Go New York, Go.
When I was in my early 20s, I wanted to find mentorship and guidance, and his content was some of the best.
90s, he's a big 90s guy.
By guidance and mentorship, did you mean good weed?
Business.
Is that what you refer to? Okay, so Joe Burrow, right? Leading into the season, that card was like 32.
New York has good weed, by the way.
This is what I've been told. $3,300 for that card, right? Which is not a bad card. $3,300 bucks.
That's $3,200.
Yeah. The orange color match. We
a
pulled it
lot
in a
of
pack.
money.
It's a lot of money, right? So that's what it was leading into the season. So we're talking what, 5-6
That's less
weeks
than
ago,
one
something
ETH.
like that, right? Less than one ETH. So anyway,
4,120.
I take it to the Hofstra show, right? And I'm gonna walk around. Maybe I'll trade it. You never know. People might like this. Joe Burrow's having a good season. He's got 3 wins, 4 wins. I don't know exactly, 4-2 maybe. And he's been pretty good. Couple close games.
They play the Ravens this weekend, too.
Play the Ravens
This weekend.
this weekend. Play the Ravens. Lots of fun. So not tonight. So anyway, right? I'm looking at the cards. I'm comping them out this way. I know if I'm going to trade it or I'm going to sell it, and it's just over $2,000, $2,200, and I'm like, Joe Burrow didn't get hurt. Like, he doesn't have 7 interceptions like Patrick Mahomes, and he's playing well.
And he was
playing-
hurt all of last
He
year.
was hurt last year, but I'm just gauging the first 6 weeks of the season. Leading up into the season, the card is worth $3,300, or that's what it's selling for. A couple weeks into the season, the team's doing well. They are a borderline playoff team in the AFC. He's doing well. He's got 2 touchdowns every game. He's out there. He's playing well. And the card lost a third of its value from preseason. Why?
I think because the main guys in the NFL were steamed up. So I think before the season, Herbert, Burrow, and the guys in that category, Tua, were all steamed up above their performance.
Yep.
I think if you take away Edwards and LaMelo, we'll talk about LaMelo. His fit, the yellow fit, was insane what he was dressed in. And he has so much swag. He really is. But except for Edwards and Melo, what I think is actually going to happen this year is if you look at Maxey, Shua, all those second-tier guys, second-tier rookies from last year, none of them are steamed.
No.
Their cards are cheap. And I think you're going to be able to day trade those guys based on their performances.
Do you think it's because the basketball cards came out after the football ones, and by the time the basketball cards came out, there was no PSA grading of them?
When the basketball cards came out, there was no PSA grading. It was towards the end of the NBA season. I think those are the 2 big ones. So, and it was in a low market. It was in a market where people were getting crushed.
And does swag have to do with money?
Uh,
How much the cards worth? Are we adding swag into that? Because I'm new to it, so I'd like to get that part.
Yeah, I mean, listen, how a
it's
player.
why LaMelo and Edwards are probably the most expensive. They have the most personality.
Because Herbert's got more swag than Burrows, so Burrows cards drop and Herbert's not having.
Maybe Herbert, everybody loves Herbert. Herbert came out like a house on fire. Everybody's like, all right, Herbert's going to be the next Brady. That's all people care about. Whereas in the NBA, I think in the NBA you have more than those couple, right? In the NFL, it's quarterbacks, and those quarterbacks, like you said, those quarterback cards have gone up a lot. They already, whether it was Tua, whether it was Herbert, whether it was Burrow, they all kind of went up a lot. Whereas, in the NBA, that's just LaMelo and Edwards. And everybody else just didn't run up.
And
So
let's think about the
see that.
timing.
I
Prism
can see
came
that.
out in March of last year?
I can see that.
Of this year?
Yep.
Prism basketball came out March of this year?
Yep.
Okay. So since that, PSA was closed, basketball season ended, and it was the down market of the across cards.
Yep.
So maybe a few weeks ago, we were talking about Halliburton Prism was a $9 card.
Yep.
Nothing's baked into that, right? You're going to see a game this year where Halliburton puts up 35.
Yep.
Where's that card going to go from $9?
Yeah.
It's going to go to 20.
It has to go up. Can't really go down.
Jordan Wara cards were probably $1 to $2 before the
Yeah,
season started.
those all went up too.
So I think with last year's rookie class specifically, you're going to see this day trading that happened with Bol Bol. I think you're going to
Can I
see
tell you I'm
a
happy
$9
about that?
card go to 30. I think it's good.
I'm happy about that because, for lack of a better way of saying it, the hobby's been kind of quiet. You know, there've been some big sales, right? Some very big sales, some big auctions, but you know, we've started to talk about performance affecting card prices. We haven't really seen that too much. You know what I mean? And I think that basketball is one where you probably will see that a little bit more, especially on those the second and third tier guys that people are investing in. People buying on Star Stock or wherever it may be, like a couple bucks for like Jordan Noir is a perfect example. He had a good game last night. He had 15, 16 points or something like that. Yeah. And all of a sudden now his cards are probably flying. And I'm sure next week, if he doesn't repeat a performance like that, they'll come back down. And then you can buy him again. And then a month into the season, he'll have another game and they'll go back up again.
I think why that's healthy is it allows the little guy to make a bet, speculate, and be rewarded for his work. And it allows him to color up.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. 100%. We're talking about that. So basically your thought is the chance for the little guy now is potentially, instead of trying to grade, instead of taking raw and grading, because you can't do that now, it's if you do the research, if you want to spend your money, buy the NBA League Pass, right, and watch these guys, you might watch a couple games of and this kid Duarte is having a great game, but nobody caught on yet, and you start buying his cards for $1 or $2, $3, whatever it may be. And then he has that big breakout game in a week or two, and you're sitting on his cards for a couple bucks. It will become $8 or $10 each, and that's your way of coloring up. Whereas it used to be just buy raw, grade it, and you know, increase your
1,000%. Look at this. He's Dominican.
Duarte.
He had a good game.
Is
he in prison?
They lost, but I don't think he's in prison.
No, is he in the? Was he in the last year's prison set?
I don't think he was in prison. I think he was playing game last night. You know? In prison. Hootie, you know this guy? You know this guy? You didn't see him when you were there? Prism.
Live up to that.
Yeah. I mean, listen. So it's this year, right?
Oh, he's a rookie this year.
He's this year's class, right? Duarte.
So maybe how does that work then? You're saying the guy has a good year or a bad year, and then throughout the year the basketball cards are going up and down. But Mike Trout gets hurt, and his card stays the same in baseball, right? So I guess basketball and football kind of run the same, and baseball runs differently.
I think because of what happened in the last year and a half, specifically, I know NBA the best, so I wasn't collecting when Trout came up and stuff like that. I think because of what happened in the last year, the three factors are Prism basketball came out really late. We were in a really down market from April to September. I think none of these, like, there becomes a point where players' performance exceeds the card price. There becomes a time where card price exceeds player performance. Okay? So, like with Trout, I think his card price exceeded what he's actually done.
That's my
He's
point.
never won a World Series. At that point, he's this year's rookie.
13.
Right, and it doesn't move. That's my whole point.
Right.
And I'm listening to about basketball. Now, Kobe's outplayed his price. I haven't seen a Kobe card worth what he's played. I haven't seen a Kobe card worth his last game in the history of his career. You know what I mean? Because every other basketball card's worth so much more money than him. So then hearing how you're saying during the season that these cards are fluctuating, but then Mike Trout stays at that number in baseball, gets hurt, and that card's still that number.
Well, Trout's done it for a little while. I think what you're talking about with these guys is the younger guys, the guys who haven't, they have no track record, right? Even we don't know. Even somebody like, you know, Herbert, right? Last year when the season started, you would say Burrow's cards were probably higher. He was higher draft pick, the whole 9 yards. But then all of a sudden, you know, Herbert starts outplaying Burrow, and Burrow gets a little bit hurt. You know what I mean? Same thing. You know, in the NBA last year, Anthony Edwards was picked first. LaMelo was not, and James Wiseman was picked second. Coming into the season, Wiseman was picked. He was on the Warriors, going to play with Steph Curry. You know, people might have thought he was going to be the better player. LaMelo's cards, you know, he had a great year, rookie of the year. He got hurt for a little while. You know, the performance matters for the young guys. They're building up their rep. They're building up their, you know, a basis for their cards to be worth anything. Somebody like Trout, who, by the way, we had somebody on last week who said Trout might actually be a risky investment still.
We've seen a lot of expensive cards, such as the $101 million.
Yeah, but because he's been injured a lot the last couple of years.
I'll give this example. You know, when a stock IPOs, it can either go volatile up or volatile down. I think what we're going to see this year is IPOs of all these players without Edwards and basketball.
Right.
Because we don't know. We didn't get a good chance of seeing them last year, and I think this is going to be the first full season where we see Wiseman have a 30-point game, Halliburton have a 30-point game, and that because I just checked, Halliburton's cards are $10.
Well, my Wiseman dropped more than half already. trophy.
Yeah,
He's
Wiseman.
like fourth now from LaMelo.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
gotta.
all these guys. You know what I mean? So like
$9.99.
Edwards is now ahead of him. You know,
For sure.
LaMelo is ahead of
Definitely.
him.
But the
His
thing with
card's
Wiseman,
less
though,
than half of what I paid.
if his card's a couple bucks, he might be a buy.
Nah.
Wiseman might be a buy if the Warriors play well. And by the way, they beat the Lakers, which, look, that's like beating a nursing home. But they beat the Lakers, and, maybe Wiseman shows up, starts scoring, and has one good game, and all of a sudden everybody wants his cards. You never know.
Another activity for you guys out there. So I saw an article. I don't know if this is true. Shannon Sharp talked about this. LeBron vetoed the trade for Buddy Hield because he wanted Westbrook on the team. Did you see that?
No, that's interesting, though. I wonder why.
Wonder why, right? So he has to, he has to sit with the dog food. What is that? Like eat his own dog food? He can't criticize Westbrook now if he doesn't perform this year because he was the one that brought him to his team. They had a Buddy Hield trade in place, and he chose Westbrook. Let's keep going. So we are 25 minutes in. We have 9 minutes. I have a play today.
Shoot, let me hear it. I can't wait. I'm excited.
This is a huge bold take, but honestly, you could make
Like
money on
bold
this,
takes.
even if this doesn't fully happen to fruition. I think this is the year where Trey cards catch up to Luka. I think they're going to have a better. So we'll talk about marketability because the marketability of Luka is crazy, and Trey, as much as he has a signature Adidas shoe, he's slightly less marketable, mostly because he has terrible hair. You should introduce him to your barber.
That should.
You should introduce you too, by the way. Do you guys have the same barber?
No.
I was looking right. I had long hair.
Staten Island Mall? No, I was playing.
That's a long time ago.
I fully believe. You know how much I love teams that develop talent, right? I always talk about this. I think the Warriors set that precedent. I think the Suns do an incredible job. Like if you guys watched the game yesterday, Chris Paul mentors Mikal Bridges. He mentors Devin Booker. I think the Hawks are another team that do a decent job. We'll see if it's a good job of mentoring talent. And Herter, John Collins, DeAndre Hunter. That's a good young core. And I think this is the year where you see Trey really take that next step up. I think he has better stats than Luka this year. I think they have a better record than Luka this year. I think they finish in the top 4 again this year. My play is the base prism. I think that's going to be an interesting card. I know it's a super high pop. It's scary to actually play that card because you could go like select courtside might be a better play. But I do believe in Trey this year. And I think, how they always talk about the ETH to BTC ratio?
Yep.
Right. It's not that BTC goes away.
Nope.
They just say, ETH will catch up a little bit, right? What if it's 10% of the price of ETH is 10% of the price of Bitcoin? We think it should be 20, 25. That's where I'm at with Trey. I think the gap between Trey and Luka is going to shrink this year. Luka prices will come down. I think Trey prices will come up. I don't think they'll even out because of marketability, but I do believe that. So that's my play today.
I like it. I'm not sure that I agree with our.
Can I talk about one more team?
Sure.
And then you'll go into your play because I know you're researching. With
just want to make sure it's the most recent prices.
So when we talked about this team, and I was like, this is like subtraction by subtraction. Westbrook going to the Lakers, he should have stayed. I think this Wizards team is going to be interesting, man. So Daniel Gafford's super athletic. We forgot about Spencer Dinwiddie, man. He could score. Spencer Dinwiddie's on.
Yeah, he can.
You still have Bradley Beal. They have Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kuzma. I think Harrell's going to be an interesting guy. Last night, 22-9 off the bench in 25 minutes, 9 of 11 from the field. And honestly, Denny Avdija is another guy. Remember he was your player
he was
last
my
year?
player, but he doesn't score.
I mean, he went 3 for 3, 8.7 rebounds.
But that's like what you expect from him every night. That's not going to be enough to move his cards.
Agreed.
Because I bought into him last year because, look, part of it is they didn't need him to score because they had, Westbrook and they had Bradley Beal and they didn't need him to score. I guess with less scorers, maybe they'll need him to step up. But he that's what they 20-something minutes. He'll score 9 points, get 7 rebounds. That's about that. But that doesn't really make him cardboard relevant. I like the guy. Very technically sound. He's got a good shot. Right?
And they got Aaron Holiday. This Wizards team is going to be interesting all year. I can see them being 8, 9, or 10 seed. When a lot of people expected them to be bottom of the barrel Eastern Conference, I think they're going to win some games and surprise some people.
Okay, so I love it. We have a whole bunch of overreaction. I guess my thought, guys, is we watched the Celtics game. Jaylen Brown's the best player. Tatum had a horrible game. If somebody out there dumps Tatum after one game, it's a buying opportunity for you, right? Because I think over the course of the season, Tatum will probably be good. Is he going to be the best player in the league? Probably not. But I think he's better than he played last night. It might be just like we had for week 1 of the NFL. Overreaction time. We told you if Aaron Rodgers cards get dumped for some reason, even though the guy's been in the league forever, just because he lost to the Saints and crab legs, go buy his cards. If you find somebody dumping them, the guy hasn't lost since, right? Same sort of opportunity. If you see in this first week, people get off to a slow start and their cards go down, somebody wants to move out of them and get out quick, there's always a buying opportunity there. Here's the other buying opportunity. Again, I hope it's why you tune in, and while no content creator deserves engagement, we get it, because we are not going to be what everybody else does. We give you and think about things the way no one else does. I talked about Joe Burrow today. We talked about the NBA. Everybody's going to tune into Luka and Trey tonight. Everybody's going to be watching that. You know what's going on that nobody cares about? It seems the baseball playoffs, right? Baseball playoffs. And not only the Braves up 3-1 seems like deja vu all over again, because it's 3-1. It was 3-1 with what they were last year, and the Dodgers came back.
The Braves were up 3-1 last year,
and the Dodgers came back and beat them. Yep, same. We were in exactly the same spot they were in, and I think the Braves might handle their business this year, which is interesting. You got the Astros up.
Credit, man. I've never seen a team get so much shit for cheating.
Yep.
Give them the middle finger and say we're still going to keep winning.
So
and I know Yankees fans don't want to hear that.
No, the Yankees fans don't like this play. US 174 2015 Topps Chrome update. Carlos Correa. There's my play for you guys, right? Nobody's looking at baseball. Selling this week $99 for PSA 10 2000.
Is there a picture of him putting the buzzer?
No, he's running in. He's running into
taping the buzzer.
No, but here's why, right? I don't like the Astros. Ian, if you hear me make this play, he'd tell me to rip the card up. He may win a World Series.
I think at the Hofstra show he ate a card.
He did. He ate an Astros card. He doesn't like the Astros. But we didn't like Garrett Cole either. And here's what I'm going to tell you. This guy might win.
You think he's going to the Yankees?
I think he's a Yankee. I think in the offseason, you're going to be a Yankee. He's a free agent. The Yankees have given up on Gleyber Torres, or maybe they'll move him over and let him play second base. He is not the shortstop for the Yankees in the future. Carlos Correa is a free agent.
Don't just develop talent.
The
old-fashioned.
They don't do it anymore. They buy their talent. And Correa is a beast at shortstop. He's going to want 10-year, $300-something million. He's going to want like a Lindor type deal, and he's going to get it because the Yankees are going to give it to him. And Brian Cashman has already started talking about how shortstop is a need for them during this offseason. So this is a multi-play. The guy's already won. He may win again right now, right? If he doesn't, you'll be able to get this at a little more of a bargain than $99. But I want you guys to think about off-season plays.
I like
right? We had a couple of other people in here who told us, all right, you know what, if the old ways of making money don't work, right? If the old ways of buy raw, make sure it's good, grade it, and make your money that way, then you got to buy in the offseason and sell it right before the season starts. You name it, right? Well, we're going to have an offseason in baseball soon. And if the Astros happen to lose, if the Red Sox beat them, or if they lose in the World Series, or even if they win a couple weeks after, this card will go down. And you're able to get a PSA 10, and you don't have to buy this one, US 174, if you don't want to. You can buy any of his cards. Any card you want. You go out and buy his first Bowman Auto, whatever you like, go right ahead. Because if in the offseason he's a free agent, even if he doesn't go to the Yankees, you're going to have an offseason where he is the name that people are going to be talking about, the same way they've talked about so many others in years past. And so that's my play, right? We talk about exit strategy, right? It's one where you can pick him up, you can sign this guy, you can grab this card, inexpensive, and you'll have many opportunities of actually purchasing and there's the first order, right? And selling him after his free agency. Maybe he signs with the Yankees, maybe he signs somewhere else, maybe he signs with Houston. But people are going to be talking about him. He's going to be on ESPN. It's going to be in people's minds when nobody else in baseball
Pretty
is.
affordable.
Yeah, cheap cards.
What I like about this is you could win two ways with this.
Yep.
That's a good thing.
You're going to buy it right now?
That's
That's it. It's good to be live. It's good. It's good. Don't buy them all. Let our listeners buy some.
So we hope you enjoy this episode. It's a lot of moving pieces. Hope you got the sound quality is okay. We're doing our best. But what's interesting about this play, and I think it's good, is you could win two ways. Let's say you buy it today.
Yep.
And the Astros win the World Series.
Yep.
That's great. Right?
100%.
But second is if he doesn't have that move to the Yankees,
yep.
Now you have attention on the card you bought, and he now moves to the Yankees. You just sell the hype.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
100%. Being a baseball guy, even if he doesn't, he's going to have better years to come.
Correct.
He's not.
And it's $100. $100.
If we're going to give him $300 million to play 10 years for the Yankees, so you know he's got a good 7 years left on him somewhere else.
Yep.
So why not? It's a great
This week,
investment.
$99, and mostly because Boston was up in the series. Who knows what winds up happening? That's the Bowman first auto 9510
Silver.
and the
Refractor.
refractor
What's that for?
$750
or best offer, probably a couple $100. $500. So anyway, there's my thought on it, guys, because everybody's focusing on basketball, and it's like a magic trick, right? When somebody's doing all this fun stuff over here, you should pay attention to what's going on over here. Anyway, so you understand what I'm saying, right? So sometimes look elsewhere, right? Baseball's going to end. Maybe look at baseball. And that's it. What else you got to add for these folks?
No, sometimes I read.
You reading the YouTube comments?
Yeah.
People saying bad stuff?
They don't know what they're saying.
They don't like me? People in the YouTube world don't like me anymore? It's okay. We love you guys.
Bleecker. Got to give a shout out to the whole Bleecker team. They're amazing.
Yeah, man, look, I
Are
got a
they
Diet
not-
Coke. That's all that matters for me. Diet Coke.
That's not a big enough.
And I got cigars. This guy bought me a belated
Yeah.
birthday present. I'm going to go smoke a cigar now with the crew. We're going to hang out with John Starks. We'll go see Chris Hodge,
Yep.
the card ladder team. It'll be fun.
Don't confuse that. That is not his last name.
Hodge.
House of Jordan. I thought it was
Chris Hodge.
That's
That's
not
his last name.
Chris House of Jordan.
Like Ali Haji Sheik.
I got to give a shout out to the whole Bleecker team. You don't know business till you walk in, right?
Sure.
Until you feel the vibe. And from day one, they've been hospitable, welcoming, gracious giving. So I got to give a shout out. Anthony, Zablo, Jacob, Christian, the whole.
It's like Cheers in here without the alcohol. You walk in, everybody knows your name. No!
Andrew's
You don't know what Cheers is? Do you know what Cheers is?
Like cheers.
I told you there's a lot he missed out on in pop
Oh
culture in
my
the 80s.
Oh, by not being born.
No, by not.
It's an old TV show. Yes,
It's
it's an old TV show.
It's a days he got his name.
That's
And here's
it.
the kicker. Here's the best part.
Cheers. I'm so old.
This is how I know I love Anthony. Some people know him as Hootie.
Hootie?
He's a huge Frank Sinatra fan, and Nat is a kindred spirit because I love Frank Sinatra. He's the best singer of all time.
There
agree?
goes another
And now Andrew's a family member of Bleecker.
That's it.
He invented the spot on the couch.
Love you, LUKA
Thanks,
Nation.
LUKA Nation.
Let us know if you want more of these kind of in person. We could go on
We can
tour.
figure it out. I'll go to Tulum. I'll go to Mexico.
I don't know if you're ready,
I'm not ready. I'm far from ready. I burn in the sun.
but it would be cool, like to take the
Like
show on the
sensitive
road,
skin.
go cross country, stop at
let's do
different
it.
card shops.
I would. Let's go. But
10 for 10, but 50 for 50.
they're gonna pale in comparison. Look what we started. We just went to the mecca of card stores. Where else is gonna measure up? No place. Thanks, LUKA Nation.